Imagine a racehorse so dominant that thousands of people refuse to cash their winning betting tickets, not because they forgot, not because the payout was too small, but because they witnessed something so extraordinary, so impossible, that they wanted to keep a piece of paper as proof they were there. June 9th, 1973, the Belmont Stakes. What happened that day still defies every law of physics, biology, and racing strategy we know.
Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most analyzed, debated, and celebrated performances in all of sports history. Not just horse racing, all of sports. Secretariat's 1973 Belmont Stakes victory wasn't just a win, it was a phenomenon that scientists, veterinarians, and racing experts are still trying to fully explain over 5 decades later. We're going to break down 10 specific reasons why this performance makes absolutely no sense, why it shouldn't have been physically possible, and why, even with all our modern training methods and thoroughbred breeding advances, nobody has come close to replicating it. Stick around until the end because reason number 7 involves something Secretariat's jockey didn't do that makes this whole thing even more unbelievable.
Number 1. The 31-length margin that broke mathematics. Let's start with the most obvious, jaw-dropping fact. Secretariat won the Belmont Stakes by 31 lengths. 31! To put that in perspective, a length in horse racing is approximately 8 feet. That means Secretariat finished roughly 248 feet ahead of the second-place horse. In human terms, imagine running a marathon and finishing so far ahead that the second-place runner is still 2.5 football fields behind you when you cross the line. It's absurd. But here's what makes it truly defy logic. The Belmont Stakes is 1.5 miles. It's called the Test of the Champion specifically because it's designed to be grueling, to test stamina to the absolute limit. In distance races, horses typically bunch together. The differences at the finish are measured in necks, heads, sometimes just noses. Before Secretariat, the largest margin of victory in Belmont Stakes history was 8 lengths by Count Fleet in 1943. Secretariat didn't just break that record, he obliterated it. He almost quadrupled it. And in the 50-plus years since, the record still stands. Nobody has even come within 15 lengths of matching it. Think about that. We've had thousands of thoroughbreds run the Belmont since 1973. We've had Triple Crown winners, champions with incredible bloodlines, horses trained with methods and nutrition that would have seemed like science fiction in the 70s. And not one of them has gotten within shouting distance of what Big Red did that day. But the margin of victory is just the beginning. Because when you look at how Secretariat achieved that margin, things get even stranger. Number 2. The world record that time forgot. Secretariat ran the 1.5 miles of the Belmont Stakes in 2 minutes and 24 seconds flat. To be precise, 2:24.00. Now, you might be thinking, okay, that's fast, but it was over 50 years ago. Surely someone's beaten it by now with modern training. Nope. That time is still the world record for 1.5 miles on a dirt track. Not just for the Belmont Stakes, not just for 3-year-olds, for any thoroughbred racehorse ever on dirt. Let me emphasize this. We are talking about a record set in 1973 that has stood for over half a century, in an era before advanced biomechanical analysis, before sophisticated nutrition programs, before the kind of genetic screening we have today. Secretariat's trainer, Lucien Lauren, didn't have access to heart rate monitors, underwater treadmills, or computer-optimized workout schedules. And yet, despite every technological advantage modern trainers possess, despite decades of selective breeding specifically designed to create faster horses, despite millions of dollars poured into racing programs around the world, nobody has run 1.5 miles faster on dirt. To put this in context, in the same time period, humans have shattered records in almost every track and field event. The 4-minute mile that was once considered impossible, it's now routine for elite runners. Swimming records fall regularly, but Secretariat's time? Untouched. There's actually a term some racing historians use, the Secretariat standard. It's the acknowledgement that what he did at the Belmont created a benchmark that may simply be beyond the physical capabilities of the species. Not beyond what we've achieved yet, beyond what's achievable, period.
Number 3. Moving like a tremendous machine, the call that defined greatness. Now we need to talk about Schick Anderson. If you're a horse racing fan, you know that name. He was the track announcer at Belmont Park that day, and he made the call that would become immortalized in sports broadcasting history. As Secretariat pulled away from the field, as the crowd began to realize they were witnessing something unprecedented, Anderson abandoned the traditional announcer's discipline. His voice rose. You can hear the disbelief, the awe, the recognition that he was calling something that transcended sport. Secretariat is moving like a tremendous machine. A tremendous machine, not like other horses, not with the usual racing descriptions of understrong urging or finding another gear. A machine, something beyond biological, something mechanical in its relentless, perfect efficiency. And here's what makes Anderson's call so prophetic. When veterinarians later examined Secretariat after his death in 1989, they discovered his heart weighed 22 pounds. The average thoroughbred heart weighs about 8.5 pounds. Secretariat's heart was nearly 3 times the normal size and perfectly healthy. It was, quite literally, a biological machine of extraordinary power. But Anderson didn't know that in 1973. He was simply trying to find words for what his eyes were showing him, and machine was the only thing that fit. You can watch that race 100 times, and Anderson's call never gets old because it perfectly captures the existential confusion everyone felt. They were watching a horse. They knew it was a horse, but what it was doing didn't seem possible for a horse to do. The late great Secretariat biographer William Knack once said that Anderson's call gave voice to the impossible, and that's exactly right. Sometimes the most profound truth is expressed not through analysis, but through spontaneous human reaction to greatness.
But if you think running fast is impressive, wait until you hear about the biomechanical impossibility of what Secretariat did within that race.
Number 4. Faster every quarter, the stamina paradox. Here's where things get truly bizarre from a physiological standpoint. In distance running, whether we're talking about horses or humans, there's a universal principle. You slow down. Your body is burning through energy reserves, lactic acid builds up in the muscles, fatigue sets in, you might have a final kick at the end, a brief surge, but overall your pace degrades over the course of a long race. This is basic biology. This is how muscles work. This is what happens to every distance athlete in every sport. Except apparently not to Secretariat at the 1973 Belmont Stakes. He ran each successive quarter mile faster than the one before it. Each quarter was faster than the previous one, over 1.5 miles, at the end of a grueling Triple Crown campaign where he'd already run the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness. His first quarter, 25 1/5 seconds. His second quarter, 24 4/5 seconds. His third quarter, 24 3/5 seconds. Fourth quarter, 24 2/5 seconds. Fifth quarter, 24 1/5 seconds. And the final quarter, 23 seconds flat. He was accelerating.
At the end of the test of the champion, when horses are supposed to be hanging on, surviving, digging deep just to maintain pace, Secretariat was running his fastest quarter. Sports scientists have studied this race for decades, and they still can't fully explain it. Dr. Larry Bramlage, one of the most respected equine veterinarians in the world, said that Secretariat's negative splits at the Belmont defy every principle of energy metabolism we understand in mammals. Think about what that means. His body was somehow generating more power, more speed, more efficiency the longer he ran. While every other horse in the race was doing what biology dictates, slowing down, tiring, running on fumes, Secretariat was doing the opposite. It's like watching a car that gets faster the longer you drive it. It violates the laws of thermodynamics. And yet, there it is, on film, timed and verified by multiple independent sources.
Number 5. Breaking a 25-year Triple Crown drought. By 1973, the Triple Crown had become racing's most beautiful curse. It had been 25 years since Citation won it in 1948. A quarter century, an entire generation of racing fans had never seen it accomplished. And it's not like there hadn't been opportunities. Great horses had tried. Northern Dancer, the incredible Canadian champion, had won the Kentucky Derby and Preakness in 1964, but finished third at the Belmont. Tim Tam in 1958, Carryback in 1961, Majestic Prince in 1969, all came within one race of immortality and fell short. The Belmont had earned its nickname, the Triple Crown Graveyard. There was actually beginning to be serious discussion in racing circles about whether the Triple Crown was even still achievable. The modern thoroughbred was being bred for speed, not stamina. The month of May saw 2 races just 2 weeks apart, the Derby and the Preakness, and then the Belmont came 3 weeks later at a longer distance than either. It was a brutal test of versatility and endurance. Some trainers had even started questioning whether attempting the Triple Crown was good for horses, whether pushing for all 3 races was asking too much of 3-year-olds still developing physically.
And then came Secretariat. He didn't just end the drought. He didn't just win the Triple Crown. He did it in a way that made it look easy. He set track records in all 3 races. He won each race by a larger margin than the one before. The Kentucky Derby by 2.5 lengths. The Preakness by 2.5 lengths, though some say it was more like 5 given how much he was eased up. The Belmont by, well, we've covered that. He didn't just prove the Triple Crown was still possible, he redefined what was possible. And here's the kicker. It would be another 37 years before another horse, American Pharoah in 2015, would win the Triple Crown. And even American Pharoah's magnificent Belmont victory was only by 5.5 lengths. If you're enjoying this deep dive into one of sport's greatest performances, do me a favor and hit that like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now. We've got tons more racing history content coming your way. Now, let's get to reason number 6, which involves a pace so fast it should have destroyed both horses involved. Number 6, impossible speed at impossible distance. Horse racing has a fundamental truth. You can run fast or you can run far. You cannot do both at the same time. Speed horses are sprinters, 6 furlongs, 7 furlongs, maybe a mile. Distance horses can go 1.5 miles, but they do it at a controlled, measured pace. Secretariat apparently didn't get this memo. He ran the first 3/4 of a mile in 1:09 4/5 seconds. That's a blistering pace. That's the kind of time you'd expect in a sprint race, not in a 1.5 mile marathon. To put it in context, that's faster than many horses run when they're only running 6 furlongs. And he didn't just run that pace for 3/4. He maintained variations of that speed for the entire race, finishing in 2:24. Here's what should have happened, what happens to every other horse that tries this. Catastrophic energy depletion.
The horse hits the wall in racing terms. They tie up, their muscles seize. They limp home in the back of the pack if they finish at all. Speed at distance is physiologically limiting. The energy systems required for sprinting, the anaerobic capacity, the explosive fast-twitch muscle recruitment, those deplete rapidly. The energy systems for distance running are different, aerobic, sustainable, but slower. What Secretariat did was somehow utilize both simultaneously. He sprinted a marathon and not just survived it, dominated it, getting faster as he went. Dr. Michael Trout, who conducted extensive research on Secretariat's genetic makeup, said, "We found markers in his DNA that suggested superior aerobic capacity and superior anaerobic capacity. Having both at elite levels in the same animal is virtually unheard of. It's like finding an Olympic 100-meter sprinter who can also win the marathon." It's the genetic lottery, multiplied by perfect training, multiplied by an exceptional mind and will, multiplied by something we probably still don't understand.
Number 7, Ron Turcotte never used the whip. Now we come to one of the most remarkable aspects of this whole performance, and it involves what didn't happen. Ron Turcotte, Secretariat's jockey, never used the whip. Not once, not even for encouragement, not even as a signal. He simply let Secretariat run. In horse racing, the whip serves multiple purposes. It's not about punishing the horse. Modern crops are designed to make noise and provide tactile feedback without causing pain. Jockeys use them to keep horses focused, to signal for effort, to say, "We need more, now." In a race as crucial as the Belmont Stakes, with the Triple Crown on the line, with the weight of 25 years of failure hanging over the sport, you'd expect a jockey to use every tool available, a crack of the whip in the stretch, something to say, "Give me everything you've got." Turcotte didn't need to. In later interviews, he described the experience almost mystically. "I was just a passenger," he said. "I'd never been on a horse that I didn't have to urge." With Secretariat, it was like he knew what to do, and my job was to not screw it up. Watch the footage closely. In the stretch, as Secretariat is pulling away, putting impossible distance between himself and the field, Turcotte is almost still. His hands are down on Secretariat's neck. There's no urgency in his body language, because there doesn't need to be. He's just holding on to history. This tells us something profound about Secretariat's performance. It wasn't extracted from him. It wasn't pushed out by human demand. This was the horse, self-determining his pace, his effort, his race. This was Secretariat deciding how he wanted to run and then doing it. It's actually arguable that if Turcotte had tried to urge him, it might have disrupted the horse's rhythm, his perfect self-regulation of effort and speed. Sometimes the most skilled thing a human can do is recognize greatness and just let it happen. But even knowing Turcotte didn't push him, you still might think Secretariat just had an easy race, that he was never tested. Well, reason number 8 shows that couldn't be further from the truth. Number 8. The suicidal pace battle with Sham. This is where the story gets truly dramatic, because Secretariat didn't run in isolation. He had a rival, a worthy, magnificent rival named Sham. Sham was a great horse. On any other day, in any other year, Sham might have been a Triple Crown winner himself. He'd finished second to Secretariat in both the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness, and he was determined not to let it happen again. From the break, Sham's jockey, Laffit Pinkeye Jr., sent his horse straight to the front. He was going to make Secretariat chase him. He was going to set a pace so punishing that even Big Red couldn't sustain it. And for the first half of the race, Sham succeeded in creating chaos. They ran the first quarter in 25 1/5, the half mile in 46 1/5, the mile in 137 2/5. These are not distance racing fractions. These are sprint fractions. This is two horses running like they're in a 6-furlong race, except they're going a mile and a half. Racing analysts watching this unfold were horrified. These two horses were, in racing terminology, going too fast too soon. They were burning through energy reserves that they'd need for the final half mile. This was a death march. Both horses should have collapsed in the stretch. And Sham did. He faded to last place, finishing dead last in a field of 5, beaten by more than 40 lengths. The effort of trying to match Secretariat's impossible pace broke him. Not physically in a harmful way, Sham recovered and raced again, but in that race, at that moment, the effort required to even stay with Secretariat destroyed his chances. But Secretariat? He not only survived that brutal pace, he accelerated after it. Remember those negative splits we talked about? Those came after running the first mile in 1:37 and change. It's like watching someone sprint the first half of a marathon, then run the second half even faster. It doesn't compute. The energy expenditure should be impossible to recover from. Trainer Pancho Martin, who trained Sham, said afterward, "My horse ran the race of his life and lost by 31 lengths. I don't know what Secretariat is, but he's not a horse. He's something else." Number 9. Perfecting the Test of the Champion. The Belmont Stakes has a nickname, the Test of the Champion. It earned that name because it's specifically designed to be brutally difficult. 1.5 miles, 12 furlongs. It's a distance that most modern thoroughbreds never even attempt in their racing careers. The Belmont track is 1.5 miles around, so horses run one complete circuit. This matters because they have to navigate turns, maintain position, conserve energy for the long backstretch, and the even longer final stretch. It's as much a tactical race as a test of pure ability. Historically, the Belmont punishes mistakes. It punishes horses that go out too fast. It punishes horses that don't have the stamina for the distance. It's claimed Triple Crown bids from horses that had everything else: speed, pedigree, 2/3 of the crown already secured, but didn't have that specific 12 furlong stamina. Horses that win the Belmont typically do so by conserving energy, by being tactical, by measuring their effort carefully and having just enough left for the final quarter mile. Secretariat ran the Belmont like a sprint race, like it was 6 furlongs instead of 12, like the rules didn't apply to him. Watch the footage from various points on the track. On the backstretch, he's already in front by lengths and still pulling away. Coming into the final turn, the margin is double digits and growing. In the stretch, it's obscene. It's comic. The rest of the field looks like they're running a different race. He made the Test of the Champion look like a training gallop. That's not supposed to be possible. The Belmont is supposed to humble horses, to find their limits. It found nothing in Secretariat except more speed, more power, more distance between him and everyone else. Pete Axthelm, the renowned sports journalist, wrote, "He did not just win the Belmont Stakes, he ran the race as if he were proving a point to racing, to time, to history, as if he wanted to make absolutely certain no one ever forgot what a great horse could do." Number 10. The uncashed tickets. When winning wasn't enough. And now we come to the final reason, the one that might be the most telling of all. It's not about speed or distance or records. It's about human reaction to transcendent greatness. After the race, thousands of people who had bet on Secretariat chose not to cash their winning tickets. Let that sink in. They won money. Not life-changing money for most of them. Secretariat was such a heavy favorite that the payout was modest, something like $2.20 for every $2 bet, but money nonetheless, money that was rightfully theirs. And they kept the tickets instead. In the days and weeks following the Belmont, newspapers ran stories about people framing their tickets, putting them in safe deposit boxes, treating them like precious heirlooms. Because these people understood they'd witnessed something that transcended sport, transcended gambling, transcended the ordinary. They'd seen perfection. They'd seen the impossible made real. And a slip of paper with a date, a horse's name, and the words "win" was tangible proof they'd been there. Think about what that means from a psychological standpoint. Humans are, generally speaking, rational about money. We like having it. We like getting it when it's owed to us. The idea of collectively deciding that a memory is worth more than money, that proof of witnessing history is more valuable than a payout, that's remarkable. There's a museum in Kentucky, the Kentucky Derby Museum, that has a display case with dozens of these uncashed tickets. People donated them over the years, little pieces of paper, faded and yellowed, each one representing someone's decision that what they saw mattered more than a few dollars. It's the ultimate testament to what Secretariat did that day. He didn't just win a race. He created a shared moment of awe so powerful that people wanted to hold on to physical evidence that they were part of it. In the decades since, collectors have actually sought out these uncashed tickets. They're worth far more now as memorabilia than the original payout would have been, which, in a strange way, proves those people right. They were right to keep them. They were right to understand that what they held was more valuable than its face value suggested. So, there you have it. 10 reasons why Secretariat's 1973 Belmont Stakes performance defies logic. The 31-length margin that's never been approached. The world record time that stood for over half a century. Cheek Anderson's call that captured the impossible. Running each quarter faster than the last. Breaking a 25-year Triple Crown drought in style. Combining sprint speed with marathon distance. Winning without his jockey ever using the whip. Surviving and thriving after a suicidal early pace with Sham, making the test of the champion look effortless, and inspiring people to keep betting slips as historical artifacts instead of cashing them in. But here's the thing about greatness of this magnitude. It's not just about the numbers, as staggering as they are. It's about the way it makes us feel. It's about being reminded that sometimes, just sometimes, we get to witness perfection. Secretariat died in 1989 at the age of 19. When the veterinarians performed the necropsy, they found that massive heart, 22 pounds of perfect, powerful engine. They found the physical explanation for some of what he'd done, but not all of it. There are still mysteries. There are still aspects of his performance that biomechanics and genetics and sports science can't fully explain. And maybe that's how it should be. Maybe there should be some room for the inexplicable, for the miraculous, for the thing that makes us shake our heads and say, I don't know how, but I saw it happen. Secretariat ran one perfect race at Belmont Park on June 9, 1973. And more than 50 years later, we're still trying to understand how he did it. We're still measuring other horses against that standard. We're still using words like tremendous machine because nothing else comes close to capturing what our eyes witnessed. That's not just a great performance, that's immortality. Thank you so much for watching this deep dive into one of sport's greatest moments. If you enjoyed it, please hit that subscribe button. We cover racing history, legendary horses, and the stories that define this incredible sport. Drop a comment and let me know, what's your favorite Secretariat moment? Or is there another legendary race you'd like us to break down? We read every comment, and your suggestions help shape our content. See you in the next one.